Murder in the first degree. Premeditated homicide is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You've heard a long and complex case. It is now your duty to separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead, the life of another is at stake. If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with grave responsibility. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The jury will retire. He doesn't stand a chance.
Thank you, but no.
Go. You know something?
I know lots of things. I'm in advertising.
You know, it's hot.
Wow, really? I would have never guessed if you wouldn't have told us, would you?
I suppose not. I'd kind of forgotten.
All I've done all day is sweat.
I bet you aren't sweating like that kid who was tried.
You at least need to put air conditioning in this place. I almost dropped dead in court.
My taxes are high enough.
Yeah. This is gonna go fast anyways.
Yes, it's hot.
Okay, everyone's here. If you guys need anything, I'll be right outside. Just knock.
Did she lock that door?
Yes, she did.
What did they think we are, crooks?
They locked us up for a little
And then they locked that kid up forever, and that's okay by me.
I never knew they did that.
Sure, they locked the door. What did you think?
I just didn't know. It never occurred to me.
Shall we all admit right now that it's hot and humid and our tempers are short?
It's been a pretty hard week.
I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going down that office. You know how it is in advertising. In 6 days, my job could be gone. The whole company too. They aren't gonna like this.
Go figure. This is our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned that I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Well, ask him to hire you. He's rich. Look at the suit.
Is it custom tailored?
Yes, it is.
I have an uncle who's a tailor.
How does he do?
Not too well, you know. A friend of his, a friend of my uncle, a tailor. Well, he wanted to be on this jury in my place.
Well, why didn't you let him?
Yeah. Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this.
And get caught or something? You know what kind of a fine you can pay for anything like that? Anyways, my uncle was on jury once. About 10 years ago. A case just like this one.
So what happened?
Well, they let him off. Reasonable doubt. But did you know that 8 years later, they found out that he'd actually done it anyway? A guilty man, a murderer, turned loose in the streets.
Well, did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
A man can't be held in double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, a man can't be tried twice for the same crime.
Yeah, that isn't gonna happen here.
6 days? They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Do you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're entitled.
Everybody gets a fair trial. That's the system. Well, I suppose you can't say anything against it.
I do like that this is about the knife. Have you ever heard of phony or so?
Well, you gotta expect that. You know who you're dealing with.
He bought a Swiss knife that night.
And then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father. An awful way to kill your father. A knife in the chest? Well, look at the kind of people they are. You know them.
What's the matter?
Lulu, these hot weather clothes could kill you.
Yeah, I had one of those on vacation too.
All right, let's take our seats in order.
Yeah. Let's hurry this up. Because I got tickets to The Music Man for tonight. And I gotta be the only one in the world that hasn't seen it. Okay, Your Honor. Let's start the show.
How about sitting down? The gentleman at the window, how about sitting down? Oh, I'm sorry. Tough to figure, isn't it? A kid kills his own father. Bing, just like that. Well, it's the element. They let the kids run wild. Maybe it serves them right.
There are better proofs of some emotion you may have. Perhaps a dislike for some group.
Yeah, we all agree that it's hot.
And that temperance will run short.
That's if we disagree. But this is open and shut, so let's get it done.
Alright. Now, you all can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules. If we want to discuss it first and then vote, well, that's one way. Or we can vote right now and see where we stand.
Yeah, let's vote now. Maybe we can go home faster that way.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Right, let's vote now.
Alright, let's vote. Alright, all those voting guilty, raise your hand. 8, 9, 10, 11. Right? 11 guilty. Not guilty?
Hey, you're in the left field.
Please. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know?
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is ABC.
I don't believe that it's as simple as ABC.
I never saw a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say that he's guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
You sat right in court and heard the same thing I did. The man's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
Where do you look to see if a man is a killer? Please tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't.
Well,
Look, what is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
that's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches in the chest. The innocent little 19-year-old kid.
I agree with you, but I think we should try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
All right. They proved it a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them to you?
No.
Well, do you believe the kid's story?
Now.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So, what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
Or me.
No one.
Look, he's just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard vote.
Is there something wrong because I voted fast?
Not necessarily.
Well, and just what are you thinking of?
You guys, listen to me. We could talk about this for 100 years, and this still won't change my mind.
I don't want to change your mind.
And like I said, what are you thinking of?
I want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all his life. You know, living in a slum. His mother dead since he was 9. It's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why some kids get that way? Because we knock him over the head once a day, every day. I think maybe we owe him a few words, that's all.
Alright, it's hard, sure. It was hard for me. Everything I've got, I fought for. I worked my way through college. It's been a long time, and perhaps you do forget. I fought, yes, but I never killed.
Right. I know what it's like and I never killed nobody.
Right. I've been kicked around too. Just wait until you worked at an ad agency and the big boy that buys the advertising walks in. Trust me, we all know.
In my country in Puerto Rico, kicking was a sign. Boy, let's try to find something better than that.
Look, I don't mind telling you this, mister, but that kid, he got a fair trial, didn't he? He's lucky he got it. You know what that costs? Look, we're all adults here, and you're not going to tell us that we have to believe him, knowing what he is. I've lived among them all my life. Can't believe a word they say. You know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for a person to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
All right. It's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
And what this person says is dangerous. What's the part of you that doesn't understand that?
I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to be able to behave like adults.
Right.
Sure, if you insist.
Thank you. If we're going to discuss this case, why let's discuss the facts.
Right. That's a good point. We have a job to do, so let's do it.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna close the window.
And if you don't mind, I like to keep the window open.
It was wrong, you don't mind it?
Don't you want air? It's summer. It's hot.
I was very uncomfortable.
There are 12 of us in this room with only one window, if you don't
I
mind.
have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade chairs with someone on the under end of the table?
Alright, I will leave the window open, somebody will trade.
Here, Take my chair.
Thank you.
Shall we get back to the case?
Yes, let's.
Now, I may have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud, but I think it's up to us to convince this gentleman that we're right and he's wrong. You know, maybe if we each talk for a minute or two, try it on for size.
That sounds fair. Is everyone agreed? All right, well, supposing we go once around the table.
All right.
We'll start with you.
Well, I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
I mean, that nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. You know, innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. It's in the Constitution. The Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it?
Everyone has.
Well, sure, I've heard of it. I know what it means. What I meant to say was...
Come on!
What I meant to say was, I just think he's guilty.
No, he's just guilty. There's a man's life at stake.
Okay. Let's get to the facts, shall we? Number one. Let's take the old man who lived in the second floor, right underneath the room where the murder took place. 10 minutes after 12, the night of the killing, he heard loud noises in the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Seconds later, he heard the boy say to his father, "I'm gonna kill you!" Then heard the father's body falling. Looked out of the apartment and saw the kid running out. He called the police, and the police found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right. Now what else do you want?
It doesn't seem to fit.
The boy's entire story was flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Well, he didn't have any ticket stub.
Who keeps a ticket stub at the movies?
That's true enough.
Well, I suppose. But the cashier didn't remember him.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Well, what about the woman across the street? Her testimony doesn't prove it. Nothing does.
That's right, she saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Wait a second. Here's a woman lying in bed and can't sleep. It's after that. Anyway, the woman wakes up and looks out the window. And right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father.
How can she be sure what she saw when she saw through the windows of a passing elevated train?
She's known the kid all his life. His window's right opposite of hers, across the L track, and she swore she saw him do it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay, and they proved in court that you can look out the window passing the L train and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
Weren't you telling us just a minute ago that you can't trust them, that you can't believe them?
So,
Well, then let me ask you this. She's one of them too, isn't she?
you're a pretty smart fellow, aren't you?
Now take it easy.
All right. Calm down. What are you letting him get you all upset for? Relax. Come on, sit.
They did take us out to the woman's room, and we looked through the windows of a passing L train, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And weren't you able to see what happened on the other side?
I didn't see as well as they told me I would see, but yes, I did see what happened.
You see? Do you see?
Let's calm down now. It's your turn. I'll pass it. All right, well, that's your privilege. How about you?
I don't know. I started to be convinced, you know, from the testimonies from the people across the hall. Didn't they say something about an argument between the father and the boy around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, could be wrong.
I think they said 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice, and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right. And what does this prove? Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just a part of the picture. And it's say it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know, you guys. I think we were just wasting our time.
I don't.
I mean, well, look at the kid's record, you know? He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging, and I even heard he stabbed somebody in the arm.
He did.
He was picked up for knife fighting. At 15, he was sent to reform school.
And they sent him to reform school for stabbing someone.
Yeah, that's a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5, his father beat him regularly. He used his fists.
On a kid like that?
You're right. It's the kids. The way they are, you know? They don't listen. I've got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I saw him and I was so ashamed. I told him right out, I'm gonna make a man out of you. I'm gonna bust you in a piece of shrine. When he was 15, he hit me in the face. His own mother. He was big too, you know? I haven't seen him in 3 years. Rotten kids, I hate tough kids. You tear your heart out. All right, so let's get on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he's the product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They aren't. I know it, so do you. Children who come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them, believe me.
I lived in a slum all my life.
Now wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me.
Now let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
All right, calm down. She didn't mean you, lady. Let's not be so sensitive.
Then, who did she mean?
I can understand the sensitivity.
Now let's stop the bickering. It's your turn.
All right, I've had a peculiar feeling about this case. Somehow I felt the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
Well, it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the kid. Still, I agree, the defense counsel was bad.
So?
This is a point. What about the facts? So many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about the cute little switch knife. You know, the one that fine, upright kid admitted to buying.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. Madam Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the knife.
We all know what it looks like. I don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
The gentleman has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Okay with me.
This knife, it's a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
Yes, I do.
Now let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy was seen leaving his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punch.
Or punch. He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day after he admitted selling it to the boy.
Well, I think we all agree it's an unusual knife. It's pretty hard to forget something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife and said it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. Why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right. You bet he's right. Now listen to this man. He knows what he's talking about.
Next, he claims that on the way home the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, that he never saw it again. Now there's the story. You know what really happened. He took the knife home, stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case identified it. Or are you trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street, went to the boy's home, and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying that it's possible that the boy lost a knife and someone stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Oh my.
Whoa.
Take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to the boy. Aren't you trying to get us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept anything. I'm just saying that it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
Oh, that's a fake knife.
What are you trying to do?
Same thing.
Look at it, it's the same knife. Quiet!
Fake knife.
Let's be quiet.
Where did you get it?
I got it in a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
Now listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely nothing. Maybe there are 10 knives like that, so what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he really did lose the knife and maybe he did go to the movies. And maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him was because he sneaked into the movies and maybe he was ashamed to say so. Is there anyone here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young?
I didn't.
Really, not even once.
We didn't have movies.
Oh,
Maybe he did go to the movies and maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. Do you think he lied?
Well, that's a dumb question. Sure, he lied.
Do you think he lied?
you don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
Do you?
I don't know.
Now, what are you, the guy's lord? Look, there's still 11 of us in here that still believes he's guilty. What are you going to accomplish by being stubborn? Look, even if this is a hung jury and he's tried again, he's going to be found guilty sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
Oh my goodness. Then what are you going to do about it? We can be here all night.
It's only one night.
Come on, man.
A man may die.
Well, yes, that's true.
I think we ought to get on with it now.
Right. Let's get going here.
How do you like this guy?
I'm not really sure. What do you think? You're the one holding up the show.
Well, clearly you don't think the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented anything to us that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. There was the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the kids freak it out.
And the woman across the L tracks. She saw it.
Yeah, we know he bought a switch that night, but we don't know about his whereabouts.
Right.
But he said, at the movies?
Earlier that evening, well, the kid and his father, they did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way. Well, that doesn't prove anything.
I mean, still, you know.
I want to call for another vote. I want you 11 to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take a guilty verdict right now.
That sounds fair enough. Does everyone agree?
I certainly am.
Thank you.
The kid's guilty.
No doubt.
You know it. All right, can we hurry it up?
Is that everyone's? Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please.
Yeah.
6 guilty. 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 Not guilty.
What?
Guilty.
Now, how do you like that?
Now, who was it? We all got a right to know.
All right, who did it? What idiot changed their votes?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
Who was it?
Right, we have the right to know.
This was a secret ballot.
And no one looked while we did it, but now I want to know.
A secret ballot that we all agree. No, if the person wants it to remain a secret.
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was.
Me too.
What is the matter with you?
Yeah.
You come here and you vote guilty, and then this slick creature starts to tear your heart out about stories about a poor little kid who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote. If that's the most sickening, now hold it.
I agree with you, but let's be fair.
Hold it. Be fair. That's just what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs. And all of a sudden, we're paying attention to fairy tales?
Now, just a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Let's try to keep this organized.
It isn't organized, but let's be civilized.
Please. I would like to say something here. I've always thought that a man was entitled to have an unpopular opinion in this country. This is one of the reasons I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
What do you disagree with us?
Usually I would. In this case, I agree with you. But the point I wish to make is that in my own country, I'm ashamed to say.
So what? We have to listen to the whole history of your country?
It's always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other countries when people aren't allowed to disagree. But we are, so let's stick to the subject.
Yeah. Let's stick to the subject.
All right, man, come on.
I'm gonna take my time. You. Would you Why'd you change your vote?
Right. You haven't told us yet.
And why do you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. I get on with it.
There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
What?
You know, I was gonna tell you, but you just seem so confident and sure of yourself.
Hey,
Maybe
sorry.
you'd like to know.
Now let me tell you why the kids.
The man wants to speak.
Thank you. This individual behind me decided to stand alone against us. That's their right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe something very strongly. They let the verdict up to us. They also came for support, so I gave it to them. And I want to hear more. Voters, 10-2.
All right, if your speech is over, let's go on.
If there were anything in its favor, I'd vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as a kid. That's good, I suppose.
It's that one juror that's holding out. But he'll come around. He's got to. Fundamentally, he's a very reasonable man.
I guess so.
They haven't come up with one real fact to back up a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know.
Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean?
What's a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. When a life is at stake, what is a reasonable doubt? You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone would start knifing people.
Not much doubt there.
Two men think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
You do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail or even death sometimes, and then years later things turn out.
And then on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and they go and do it again. They squeeze out on some technicality and kill again.
Look, now that we kind of cooled off a little bit, I was a little excited a minute ago. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal.
All right.
Look. Supposing you listen to me this. If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
As far as I'm aware, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. Not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
Well, I suppose. But who else had a motive?
The father's along in years, probably no grudge.
Remember, it's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a very important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer, right? Well, I suppose you tell us what your reasonable doubts are?
It's not easy. It's a feeling that I have. Yes, a feeling. Perhaps you don't understand?
No, I don't.
So what, we're gonna spend the whole night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the boy yell, "I'm gonna kill you!" And a second later heard the father's body falling. Looked out and saw the kid running out of the apartment. 15 seconds after that.
Yeah, where's the reasonable doubt in that?
And let's not forget the woman across the street. She looked up into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
Now that isn't enough for you.
It's not enough for me.
What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like him? It's like turning into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant details.
Right, now what do you got to say about that?
Something doesn't fit.
Well, suppose you think about it. Lend me your pencil. Let's play some tic-tac-toe. Might as well kill the time. This isn't a game. Hey, wait a minute! Who do you think you are?
All right, let's take it easy.
I got a good mind to walk around this table and bell him one.
Now, please, I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see him? The nerve, the absolute nerve.
All right, forget it. It don't mean anything. How about sitting down?
This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So,
How long do you think it takes an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
what does that got to do with anything?
How long would it take? Yes.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
Well, what do you think? I would say about 10 or 12 seconds, maybe?
That sounds about right. Anyone else?
10 seconds, perhaps. Yeah, 10 seconds.
About 10 seconds, yeah.
All right, we're agreed. 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
this. An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. Now, you can almost reach out the window of that room and touch the L, right?
That's right. I tried it.
So,
Well, have any of you guys ever lived right by the L tracks?
I live close to them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? When your window's open and the train's going by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Go on.
The old man heard the boy say,
He didn't say it, he screamed it.
he heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And then 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second, that's the testimony, right?
Right.
And the old woman looked through the windows of the last 2 cars and saw the body fall. Last 2 cars. Last 2 cars.
What are you giving us here?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That car had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, and maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose. It's not possible that he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure he could have heard it.
With an L train going by?
He said the boy yelled it out.
An L train makes a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
it's enough for me too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise.
What are you people talking about? Are you saying the old man lied?
Something doesn't fit.
You're crazy. Why would he lie? What does he have to gain?
Attention? Maybe?
You keep coming up with these bright sayings. You should send them to the newspaper. They pay $2.
What does that have to do with a man's life? Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to conclude.
It's just, I had a good look at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under his arm. Did anyone notice that? He's a very old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. I think I know better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all of his life, who never had recognition. His name in a newspaper. Nobody knows him after 75 years. It's a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be quoted. A man like this needs to be listened to, questioned about, and even mentioned just once. This is very important.
Are you trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this so it could be important?
No, he wouldn't really lie. Come on. He'll make himself believe he had heard those words and recognize the boy's face.
Well, that's the most fantastic story I ever heard. How can you make up something like that?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made us believe he told the truth.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What?
Shut up! I am the same man.
I think we all understand now. Thank you.
If you want to admit you're a liar, that's all right by me.
Now that is too much.
He just admitted he's a liar. He just told us so.
Please, he was explaining the circumstances so we might understand.
Didn't you just admit you're a liar?
Please, he was explaining the circumstances so we could understand why the old man might have lied. There's a difference.
A liar's a liar, and that's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Everyone, please. We have our job and our duty here.
Oh, I hope we covered it.
Is there anything else?
There's something else about the old man and, you know, his living situation. Well, have any of you guys ever lived in an apartment building?
I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
What's that?
I don't live in a tenement, but it's close. And there is just enough light that you can see the steps. No more. The light bulbs are so small. And you're telling me this murder took place in a tenement? Don't you remember how we stumbled in the steps?
The police were using big bulbs and one even had a flashlight, remember?
An old man who misjudged the time by 39 seconds. On this we all agree. This old man looks down a dark hallway and recognizes a running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice as long as he thought.
So, couldn't he be 100% wrong of who he saw?
Well, that's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. You're making that up out of thin air.
Sure. Do you truly feel that there's no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I beg your pardon, but probably you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
Funny person.
Thank you.
What do you mean I don't understand what a reasonable doubt is? How do you like him? Oh my goodness. He comes in here running for his life before he can even take a breath. Oh, I'm getting mad. Telling us how to run the show. The arrogance of him.
No one here is asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your father came from.
Maybe we should listen to the people who came running here. Maybe they know something we don't know. We're not so smart.
It's all right. I'm used to this. Thank you.
It's not all right.
You heard the man. But, okay. Okay. I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want. Now there's
Stop the arguing.
I've got something else to point out here. I don't think the boy could have heard the boy. I don't think the man could have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear him through.
If he did, then this phrase, how many times have each of you used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that once more, Junior, I'm gonna murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him. We say it every day. It doesn't mean that we're really gonna kill someone.
Though the circumstances alter that somewhat.
Well, do you really think he'd shout something like that for the whole neighborhood to hear? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right? He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
What?
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
The vote is now 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
I think there's a doubt.
Where? What is the doubt?
The knife.
Oh, fine.
He tricked you into believing a fairy tale.
Go on, give us the reasons.
Well, the old man too. Maybe he didn't lie, but then maybe he did. Maybe the old man just doesn't like the kid.
Well, if that is bad,
I believe there is a reasonable doubt.
what are you basing this on? Things that this guy made up? Stories that this guy made up? You know what? You ought to write for Amazing Detective Monthly. You will make a fortune. The kid had a lawyer, didn't you? Why didn't the lawyer bring this all up in court?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh my goodness. Oh brother! You know what you're doing? You're trying to convince us that the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door and see the kid beat it down the stairs 15 seconds after the killing?
That's the testimony, I believe.
And the old man swore. Yes, he swore this. Just so he could be employed.
Well, did the old man say he ran to the door?
I mean, ran. Walk. What's the difference?
Well, I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how we could run.
He said he went, I remember it now. He went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where was this bedroom again?
Somewhere down the hall.
Down the hall. Are we supposed to send him in off to die because it's down the hall somewhere?
I thought you remembered everything. You don't remember that?
I don't.
I don't remember either.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment.
Yeah. Let's bring it back all out so you can get everything right.
The bedroom is down the hall somewhere. Do you know? Do you know exactly where it is? Please, a man's life is at stake here. Do you know?
Well,
Madam Foreman? All right. What's this one for? How come you're the only one in the room that wants to see the exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one too.
And I want to stop wasting time.
Are we going to start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
No, we're going to figure out how a man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes can make it to his front door in 15 seconds. He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? Can't judge a thing like that.
He said 15. He was very positive about it.
He's an old man.
Okay.
You saw that. Half the time he was confused. How can he be sure about anything? Well, you know. No, I don't know. Maybe you know.
Is this what you wanted? Yes, that's right. Thank you. Sure, that's my job. You want this?
Yes, please.
Do me a favor. Let me know when this is all over.
I looked at that diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Some of us are interested. Go ahead.
All right, this is a diagram of the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly below it and exactly the same. Here are the L tracks, a bedroom, another bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, and there's the hallway. There is the front door to the apartment, and there are the steps. The old man says that he was in bed in this room. He says he got up, went out into the hall, down the hall to the front door, and opened it just in time to see a running figure. Am I right?
That's the story.
Correct.
That's what happened!
15 seconds after the body fell.
Yep.
His bed was at the window, right there. It's 12 feet from his bed to the door of the room. The length of the hall is 43 feet, 6 inches. He had to get up, get out of bed, grab his canes, walk 12 feet, open the door, and then walk 43 feet and open the front door. Just in time to see the boy running. 15 seconds after the body fell. Do you think that's possible?
You know it's possible.
I mean, he would have been in a hurry. He did hear the scream.
Don't you remember? They had to help him into the witness chair.
You make it sound like a long walk. It's not.
It is.
For a woman who uses a cane, that's me, but it's a long walk.
What are you doing? I want to try this thing. I want to see how long it really took him. I'm going to pace off 12 feet, the length of the hall. You're crazy! You can't recreate a thing like that!
Let him do it.
It's an absolute ridiculous waste of time!
Mom, perhaps. This is an important point.
Pass me a chair, please. Thank you. All right, this act of as the door to the room the old man was in. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
20 feet maybe, give or take.
Just about.
That sounds about right. So you say from here to the door of this room and back is about 40 feet, right? That's less than the old man had to walk through. Right?
Right. It's a few feet.
This is insane. What makes you think you can do a thing like that?
We can't stop him.
Do you mind if I try? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. Does anyone here have a watch with a second hand? I have. When you want me to start, stamp your foot. That'll be a body falling.
We'll time you from there.
Let's say he keeps his canes right at his bedside.
Right.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm just waiting for the hand to be at 60.
Speed it up. You walk twice as fast as that.
I think this is even more quickly than what the old man walked into the courtroom.
No, it isn't. If you want me to go faster, I will.
Speed it up a little.
Stop.
Right.
What's the time?
20, 25, 30, 35, 39 seconds exactly.
That can't be!
I was correct. 39 seconds.
Now that's interesting.
Well, now, you know.
Hey, would you look at that? 39 seconds.
39. 39 seconds. Yeah.
I mean, told Cripple swore on his oath that it was 15.
He may have been off on the speed that the old people walk into the courtroom, but 39 seconds off? Well, now you know.
Look, far be it for me to call anyone a liar, and even allowing for a small difference in speed between the old man and you, why, still there's quite a
discrepancy.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to his door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed it was the boy. What?
I think it's possible.
Assumed! Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but this little display, it takes the cake. What dishonesty? Tell him! You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice, and you make up these wild stories. You got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm getting real sick of you. All of you. What is the matter with you people? This kid is guilty. guilty. He's got to burn, and we're letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up!
You're a sadist.
Shut up!
You want this boy to die because you personally want it, not because of any
Shut up!
You are a beast. You just
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Let me go! I'll kill him! I'll kill him!
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
Is there anything wrong? I heard some noise.
No, there's nothing wrong. We're finished with that. You can do that.
What are you looking at? Huh? All right.
I don't see why we have to behave like children.
Neither do I. We have a responsibility. This is a remarkable thing about democracy, that we are... What's that word? That we're notified by mail to come down to this place and decide in the innocence or guilt of a man we haven't known before. This is one of the reasons we stay strong. We shouldn't make it a personal thing.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Why don't you take me?
We forget. It's good to be reminded.
I'm glad we're going to be civilized about this.
Well, we're still nowhere.
No, we're somewhere. Or getting there. Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, who's got an idea?
I think maybe we could try to vote. Madam Foreman? That's all right with me. Anybody who doesn't want to vote?
Let's vote.
All right. I want an open ballot. Let's call our votes out. I want to know who stands where.
That sounds fair. Does everyone agree?
They better be.
All right, well, I'll call up your jury numbers. I vote guilty. 2,
Not guilty.
3,
He's guilty.
4,
Guilty.
5,
Not guilty.
6, not guilty. 7,
Guilty.
8, not guilty. 9,
Not guilty.
10, guilty. 11,
Not guilty.
12,
Guilty.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed right here in this room.
it's 6-6.
I'm ready to walk out of court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point in this going on anymore.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote. And why you changed your vote, and why you did. There are 6 people here who think that we may be turning a murderer loose in the streets. Emotion won't do. Why?
It would seem that the old man did not see the boy run upstairs that night. I do not think it likely that the old man heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old man dreamed. And if the boy did scream that he was going to kill, then we'd have the authority of this woman right here to prove that it might not really mean he's going to kill.
Let's take it into a judge and let him try his chances with 12 other people.
It's 6-6. I don't think we'll ever agree on anything.
We can't even agree whether the window stays open or closed.
Well, what now?
Look, I have this doubt in my mind. I think we should go for a vote.
What do you mean, vote?
Not again.
Yeah, vote on what?
Vote
Are
on-
we or aren't we a hung jury?
You mean that we vote yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we are not a hung jury?
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
If 7 or more of us vote yes, that we are a hung jury, then we take it into the judge and tell him that we are a hung jury.
Right. And if 7 or more vote no, then we aren't a hung jury and we go on discussing it.
It doesn't seem quite right to me.
It's our only solution.
I agree. It's the only way.
Anything to end this.
All right. I vote yes, we're a hung jury. 2,
No.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
No.
6,
No.
7,
Yes.
8,
No.
9,
No.
10,
Yes.
11,
No.
and 12.
Yes.
Oh, no.
It's 6-6.
We can't get the majority to decide whether or not we're a hung jury.
I went along with the majority vote on this question. And I didn't agree with voting that way, and I still don't. So I'm changing my vote. I say that no, we are not a hung jury. I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. There's still some things I'd like to find out from those that changed their minds.
So then we aren't a hung jury, and so we go on.
Good, we go on.
Why did you change your mind?
He seems so sure, and he makes a number of good points, while she gets mad and insults everybody.
Does the anger and insult change the guilt of the kid? He did do it. Are we to turn a murderer loose because one of the jurors gets angry when she thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
That's true.
There is a doubt.
I don't think so. The track is straight in front of the window. Let's take that one. So the L train would have made a low rumbling. L trains screech when they go around first. So the old man could have heard a scream, which is high pitched. And it is a tenement, and they have thin walls.
Good, that's it. That's it.
And what if the old man was wrong about the time it took him to get to the door, but he was right about when we saw running down the stairs? Please remember that there weren't any fingerprints on the knife, and it is summer, so gloves seem unlikely.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And
now listen to this man. He's got the goods.
And it may have taken a few seconds to get a handkerchief out and wipe away all the fingerprints.
This is a point.
All right, then why don't we just time this one to see?
Which is, what are we timing? Yes, let's be exact, please.
I'm saying that the old man downstairs might have been wrong about the time it took him to get to the door, but he was right about when we saw running down the stairs. Now, it may have taken the murderer about 39 seconds to wipe away all the fingerprints and get down the stairs to the place where the old man saw him. The boy, that is.
This is right.
We reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door, and, well, we timed that. So let's reconstruct the actual crime.
As well as we can reconstruct it.
Yeah, I think a murder could use 30 to 40 seconds up pretty easily at that point.
Let's reconstruct the killing.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Come on, please move out my way.
You should have just said
All right. How about you do the stabbing?
No, I'll do it.
All right, then. How about you be the one that gets stabbed?
Who's she talking to?
You. I'll be.
It's hot.
You're younger than I am, and you take 1 second to fall.
And he was found on his side, his right side, so fall and roll into your right side. If someone hates another person enough to kill them, don't you think that it's reasonable to suppose that murderer would look at his victim for a second or two?
Well, yes, that seems reasonable.
Wait. Hey, wait a minute. He falls on his right side. The father did. But stabbing someone isn't like shooting them. Even when it's right in the heart. He would have worked around on the floor a little. Writhing, maybe.
That's quite possible. There would have been enough oxygen in his system to carry him for 2 or 3 seconds, I should think.
Wouldn't the father cry out?
Maybe the kid held his mouth.
That also seems possible.
Also, there's another point. Anyone who is clear enough mentally to wipe the fingerprints away after murdering someone, well, that person would also be clear enough mentally to look around the apartment, or the room in this case, to see if there are any other clues. It would just be for a second or two, but still, he would look around.
This gets better and better.
We're trying to make it clear one doesn't talk about quality when murder is involved. Well, let's do it.
About this. On the fingerprints, the boy wiped the fingerprints off of the knife. What about the doorknobs? If I saw a man come into my home, a man that hated me, if he was wiping the doorknobs off with a handkerchief as he walked in, well, it would give me an uneasy feeling. So, the boy must have wiped the fingerprints off of the doorknobs after the killing, and, well, this too would also take some time.
You timed the last one. Why don't you time this one too?
All right.
Stamp your foot when you want me to start.
That's a real name. Okay.
I'm waiting for the hand to be at 60.
That's a real. Okay.
All right.
You ain't gonna die. Okay.
I'm going to kill you.
Ah! Ah! Oh, I did that hurt. Ah! Ah! Death. Hot pain.
Oh. He would have wiped both knobs. Stop.
15, 20, about 29 and a half seconds, I'd say.
And whoever did kill the old man, and I think it was the boy, he still had to run down the hall and down the stairs. At least one flight of stairs.
You see? Do you see?
Well, now both times you go to the one you did and the one we did. What with running down the stairs and everything, it pretty much does check out on time.
Are you all right?
You take over. Well, yeah, the old man probably did it to be important. He could be right. But, like everyone else here, plus the old man, we all believe that there's a life at stake. Ooh.
So the story of the old man may well be true.
Except for the fact that he absolutely swore under oath that it was only 15 seconds.
We all seem to agree that it was 25 to 40 seconds later.
You are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. Now, I do see how this tends to confirm the story of the old man, but he is now in part a proven liar. I mean, that's part of the admission.
That's true that the old man did lie in part, but I think I will change my vote once more. Guilty.
Yeah.
All right, and what about you?
I don't know what I think. I'm gonna talk some more. At first, I felt guilty. Then I changed. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
All right, and what about you?
No. I mean, real doubt. Real doubt.
I say guilty. For the first.
Now we're beginning to make some sense here.
It seems to be about 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
You know, maybe we are hungry. Maybe we are hungry. It happens sometimes.
Wait, but there's this one question I have in mind. How many do you guys live in an apartment building? Raise your hands, please.
I think we've already covered this one.
I answered that a long time ago. Come on.
Oh, sorry. My memory's kind of short.
Well, there must be something out of place here. There's gotta be something. What about you? What do you think?
There is something that has been bothering me. The whole thing about the stab wound and how it was made, the downward angle of it, you know?
Don't tell me we're gonna start that again. They went over and over it in court.
Well, I know they did, but I don't quite go along with it. You see, the boy is 5 foot 8 inches, and the father was 6 foot 2. That's a difference of 6 inches. And I seem it awkward to stab downward into the chest of somebody who is half a foot taller than you are.
Look, you're not gonna be satisfied till you see it again. So, I'm gonna give you a demonstration. All right? Somebody get up. All right. Now pay attention. I don't want to have to do it again. Is this 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches?
Okay, let it be more.
Stop touching.
What's wrong with you?
All right. Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
Take a look at it. Down and in. That's how I stab a taller man in the chest, and that's how it was done. Take a look at it. Tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. Guess there's no argument.
Did you ever stab a man?
Of course not.
Did you? All right, let's not be silly. Did you? No, I didn't.
Then where do you get all this information about how it's done?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
Have you ever seen a man stabbed?
No?
Well, this boy, he's an experienced knife fighter, right? He would know how to handle a knife. Well, doesn't this seem like an awkward way to do it?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a minute. Give me the knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies? In my backyard. On my stoop. In the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. It's funny I didn't think of that before. I guess you don't forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would have never stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. You use it underhanded.
Then the boy couldn't have possibly made the kind of wound that killed his father.
Well, I suppose it's conceivable that it could have made the wound, but it's not likely. Not if he'd had any experience with switch knives. And we know the kid had experiences with switch knives.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I don't know.
Well, what about you?
You know what I think? I think that this is a waste of time. I repeat, I think that this is a waste of time. I think that I am tired and I want to go home. I think that we should break it up and go home.
Before we do anything more, I'd like to try to piece this together. Get a coherent story. I want you all to look at this logically and consistently. We have guilty! Now, is this boy smart or is he dumb?
What do you mean?
Everyone knows that this boy is an experienced knife fighter, isn't that so? The night of the murder, he bought a knife, a switch knife. It would then take a very stupid kid to go and murder a man, his father, with an instrument everyone would associate with the kid. Well, I quite agree he's dumb. However, if he were dumb, then why did he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder must take a great emotion, a great hatred. And in that moment, he would handle the knife as best he could. And a trained knife fighter would handle it as he had been trained. Underhand. A man who had not been trained would go overhand. But this kid is being very smart. Everyone knows that the kid is an experienced knife fighter. So in that moment, he's smart enough to make the kind of wound that an amateur would make. That man is a smart man, smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away. Hell, maybe he's even smart enough to wait until an L train's going by to cover the noise. Now, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
Hey, now wait a minute!
Well, the woman across the L train seen the murder through the L train. So, someone in that L train could have seen the murder too, right?
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
Right. It looks like an awfully dumb man to take that chance. To murder someone as the train went by.
Exactly, a dumb man, a very stupid man, a man swept by emotion. Probably he heard nothing. He probably didn't even hear the train coming. And whoever did murder the father did as well as he could.
So,
The kid is dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with a knife, a switch knife murder. But then a second later, he's smart enough to make the kind of wound that would lead to suspect someone else. But in the same instant, he's dumb enough to do the killing as an L train is going by. But then a second later, he's smart enough to wipe fingerprints away. To say that this boy is guilty, you would have to say he's dumb from around 8 o'clock till midnight. And then around midnight, he becomes smart for 1 second. And then he becomes dumb again, and then suddenly smart again for another few seconds. And then stupid, so stupid that he forgets to come up with a good alibi. To make this boy guilty, you would have to toss his intelligence like a pancake. There is a doubt. Doubt.
I hadn't thought of that.
And the old man downstairs, on stand, he swore there was 15 seconds. He insisted on 15 seconds. But we all seem to agree that it was more around 40 seconds.
Wait, so does the old man lie half of the time and then tells the truth the other half of the time?
To make this boy guilty, you'd have to say that he's stupid, then smart, then stupid, then smart, then so on. And also, for the kid to be guilty, the old man must lie half the time, and the other half the time he must tell the truth. You can reasonably doubt.
I'm still no reasonable doubt. I have one more talk and I've had it.
I want another vote.
Alright, so there's another vote called for. Well, I suppose the quickest way is a show of hands. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands.
Nope.
Alright? 9. And guilty? 3. Vote is now 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you really think this kid is innocent? You know how those people lie. I don't have to tell you that. And listen, these people, they don't need a real big reason to kill either. They get drunk and then bang, someone's lying in the gutter. That's just the way they are. You know what I mean, violent. Human life doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us. Look, these people are drinking and fighting all the time. And if somebody ends up getting killed, so somebody gets killed. They don't care. Hey, where are you going? I'm trying to speak my piece and listen to me. These people, they're no good. There's not one of them who's any good. And this kid on trial, well, don't you know them? I'm trying to tell.
I've had enough. If you open your mouth again, I'll shut it for you.
I'm only trying to tell you.
All right, sit down, everybody. I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was given by the woman across the street who claimed she actually saw the murder committed.
Right. As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
Well, what exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. She said that she went to bed at about 11 o'clock. Her bed was next to the open window and she could look out of it while lying down and see directly into the window across the street. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. Finally, she turned toward the window at about 12:10, and as she looked out, she saw the boy stab his father. As far as I can see, this is unshakable testimony.
That's what I mean. That's the whole case.
Frankly, in view of this, I don't see how you can vote for acquittal. What do you think?
Well, maybe. There's just so much evidence to shift.
What do you mean, maybe? You can throw out all the other evidence.
That was my feeling. I don't deny the validity of the points that he has made. Shall we say that on one side of the tracks there is doubt? But what can you say about the story of the woman? She saw it.
What time is it?
Oh, let me read. 10 minutes to 6.
You don't suppose we could wrap this up and go? I've got a kid at home with the mumps.
Cool.
Not a chance.
Say, can't you see the time without your glasses on?
Not clearly.
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
Well, what do you do when it's night and you want to check the time?
I put my glasses back on and I look at the clock.
I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime. My father gave it to us when we were married, my wife and I. It took us 10 years before we had a place to put it.
Well, you don't wear your glasses to bed, do you?
Of course not. No one wears eyeglasses to bed.
Well, the woman who testified, she wore glasses, didn't she? What about her?
Did she wear glasses?
Of course. I remember this very clearly. They look quite strong.
Wait, that's right. Bifocals. She never took them off.
Funny. I hadn't thought of that.
Right?
I think it's logical to say that she wasn't wearing her glasses to bed. And I don't think she put them on to look casually out the window. She testified that the murder took place the instant she looked out the window, and then half a second later the lights went out. She couldn't have had time to put on her glasses to see that. No, perhaps she really thought that she saw the boy kill his father. I say, all she saw was a blur. How do you know she saw? Well, maybe she's farsighted. Come on, how does he know these things? Is there anyone here who still thinks that there's not a reasonable doubt?
I will always wonder. But there is a doubt.
Well, I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced now. There is a reasonable doubt.
Well, I think he's guilty now. What else do you want?
Your evidence.
I gave you my evidence.
We're not convinced. We'd like to hear it again. We have time.
Listen, what is the matter with you? You're the guy. You made all the arguments. You can't switch now. A guilty man, he's gonna be loose on the streets, a murderer. He's not the guy. Stay with me.
I'm sorry, I'm convinced. I don't think that I'm wrong very often, but I guess I was this once. There is a reasonable doubt.
You're alone.
You're not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. It's going to be a hung jury, that's it.
There's nothing we can do about that except hope that some night, say, maybe in a few months, why, you might get some sleep. You're all alone.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
If it is a hung jury, there will be another trial, and some of us will point these things out to the various lawyers.
11 not guilty, 1 guilty.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, but no.
All right. All right.
They're waiting.
Not guilty? Not guilty.
send-offs. It's like the senior night, but for theater. We're gonna start out with Benny.
Ben left.
They told him to come back.
Okay, I'm gonna be back. People don't leave. Benny!
Hurry, Trinity!
Benny, where are you going?
Go on.
Who's the person that's here? Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do Tori, since she's the only one here. Tori has been involved in theater since her freshman year in North High's musical review, all the way to our latest production of 12 Angry Jurors. She's been heavily involved behind the scenes with tech, so she doesn't really receive as much credit, but give it up for Tori.
Why you guys over there? Come over here.
Okay, so then we have Benny. Benny was our sound technician for Murder on the Orient Express. He's been with us for 3 years, and this is his last year where he decided to join us on stage for Crazy Town and now 12 Angry Jurors. Give it up for Benny.
Thank you.
Alright, and for training, Tarlu, our student body president. He is a leader in our school. He is a leader in our school, and he has a lot of school spirit. And for the last 4 years, he has joined us on stage tonight, which is very welcoming to our cast. Sorry, guys. For both productions, and he will be missed by all of us.
Move. Thank you guys. Okay, let's go.
Guys, we got flowers.
Now we're going around.
I'll meet y'all right now, all right?